It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your Energy and Ascension forecast for Sunday, October 22nd to Saturday, October 28th. So last week, of course, we've been sitting in this eclipse window energy. It's very exhausting, very confusing, very funky, if I do say so myself. It is always an interesting time in between eclipses. And again, I'll give you the analogy. It's almost like the universe, the cosmos, picks up the snow globe. That is Earth, essentially, shakes us up, and we're just sitting back. We're observing to see where these snowflakes are going to fall. We are at the mercy of the cosmos. Eclipse season in its entirety, karmically speaking, tends to kind of sort us out and put us on the path that we need to be on, and maybe according to our ego selves, not the place that we would have wished for ourselves. However, the karma unraveling and building needs to happen as of right now. Of course, we came into a new karmic chapter with that equinox energy when we entered into Libra season. This eclipse window energy is just an added layer of karma on top of the karmic chapters that we just moved into. And that's why everybody is just kind of all over the place. While all the energies are fluctuating, affecting us, we're trying to stay positive, we're trying to act as the observer, but realistically speaking, we're all over the place. And it's very, very hard, I would say, to align with a particular energy for too long. Again, the swirling is really creating a lot of disorientation, a lot of confusion, a lot of discombobulation, and we really don't know where we're going to kind of get spat out at the end of this, so to speak. Now, this was also the last week of Libra season and the last week of Mercury in Libran energy. Now, again, Libra season is a cardinal sign, cardinal season. It happens with the change of the seasons in its entirety, but it also offers us a good opportunity to really observe where it is that our lives are out of whack, where the scales are out of whack, so to speak, especially where relationships are concerned. And we have definitely been illuminated to where it is that we're kind of banging our head against a wall in certain aspects, and what it is that we've been kind of resistant to kind of change and move on from. And everything is super intense at this time because of the illumination needed to see where it is that we're moving away from certain aspects and where it is that we have a desire to move closer to particular elements and aspects that we're now building towards. We had a lot of energy between Mercury and the Sun and the South Node here this week. As I'm coming to you here Friday evening on the October 20th, we actually just had the Sun and Mercury have their conjunction early in the wee hours of the day. And of course, previous to that, as we move throughout this week, we had the Sun enter into a conjunction with the South Node and of course opposed the North Node. We had Mercury kind of follow the same path, and then the Sun and Mercury, they meet up. And what this does is it opens up a brand new cycle for Mercury. So this is going to mean that we're in the time of insight. We're in the time of clarity. We're in the time of receiving some puzzle pieces that, may skew our perspective initially, but that is going to help us kind of paint a bigger picture, especially with some information, perspectives, and details that were previously missing from this particular equation. So it is quite a big deal anytime that we have a planet kind of conjunct teaming up with the Sun, because the Sun, of course, life force energy, it initiates a brand new season, a brand new cycle for that particular planet. So this is why we've had a lot of pressure in the headspace. This is why we're really struggling to kind of pick apart the confusion in order to gain the clarity. But now that we've had the Sun and Mercury kind of do its conjunction here early this morning, Mercury essentially is at its halfway point in this particular cycle and is now kind of shifting roles, if you will, to provide us a little bit more depth, a little bit more insight, not only in the mysteries of life, but in our psyche. And a lot of those particular energies, very interesting that they get initiated in this particular time frame, because of course we are building towards the first quarter moon in Capricorn energy that will be taking place late Saturday evening. The first quarter moon of any lunar phase is always a critical point of awareness, let's say. It illuminates for us a particular action, a particular insight, if you will. It really provides us with a little bit more of a gusto point of knowing what it is that we have to do, either to eliminate and remove certain factors from our lives, or of course choose and initiate to bring new ones in. And the fact that it's happening in Capricorn energy, it is very, very layered in karma right now. We have to understand Saturn rules over Capricorn energy, meaning there is a lot of different karmic cycles currently overlapping at this time, and this is also contributing to why it is that we feel batshit cray-cray. So this week we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, and how it is that we express ourselves in a brand new cycle, a brand new season, a brand new perspective, if you will, moving into Scorpio energy here on the 22nd. Now, of course, there's an astro forecast out for this particular event, so I am going to recommend that you go ahead, you take a listen so that you understand what Mercury in Scorpio energy actually does for us. It's a very short stint, only about 20 days. And let me just say that it's going to be very deep, very intense, very revealing in a lot of ways. And that very short amount of time that Mercury is going to be spending in the Scorpio energy is definitely going to be jam-packed, full of fun, full of insights, full of profound revelations. And it's probably a good thing that we only have Mercury in Scorpio energy for a short amount of time, because under these particular pressures, we really do need to kind of summarize these learning lessons, compress them, compact them in a short amount of time, because it's very intense on that mental plane. And I'm not sure about y'all, but my head feels like it could literally explode. Of course, we're jumping into Scorpio season here on Monday on the 23rd, and Scorpio season is always a major, major time of revelations, of insight, of profound change, of profound transformation. It is essentially the time when we are breaking out of the cocoon in which we've been in, and we are getting to know our butterfly selves. Now, it will be a little bit longer before we get to test our wings out. I would highly suggest that we want to wait until after this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus energy that we are building up to, taking place on the 28th. Because, of course, at eclipse season, do we really want to test our wings out for the first time in an absolute chaos shitstorm of energy? It's pretty hard how to learn how to fly when you come into a place where you realize that there's energy swirling from every angle, from every perspective. And so although we are kind of breathing for the first time in our new butterfly selves, we're just going to simply sit back and observe and maybe just flutter the wings without actual takeoff. Now, again, we're building towards this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus energy. And I mean, I have a lot to say about it. Of course, there's going to be an astro forecast about it. There's a moon guide going to be released later on this week about it. I would highly recommend, if you haven't already, to download the moon guide for the new moon solar eclipse in Libra energy that we just had on the 14th, because of course, this is the karmic chapter that we're in. You really have to know what's going on with that new moon solar eclipse energy in order to understand how it's going to connect to the full moon lunar eclipse energy. And the interesting part about it is that this is going to be the last event that will be taking place on the Taurus and Scorpio axis. Of course, the nodes of the moon have been on this Taurus and Scorpio axis for the last 2 years. This is why we've been going through the karmic life lessons collectively and independently on where it is that we had to remove certain things out of our lives, see a certain ending, certain death, certain closure, very Scorpio energy, in order to bring new elements into form, Taurus energy. So we've been going back and forth and seeing, the particular eclipse events over the last 2 years really amplify for us the connections to the past, the old emotional pain, trauma, baggage that we had to drop, that we had to let go of. That's why the collective's been going through essentially the dark night of the soul, because Scorpio energy is shadow work. It is the very beginning of where shadow work begins. And of course, you have to do shadow work in order to elevate your vibration and your frequency. You're only able to rise as high as you've gone deep within yourself. And so there is this kind of relief coming, especially to my Taurus and Scorpio friends, to get this full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus over with so that we can close the door on that particular chapter altogether. But considering the fact that the new moon solar eclipse in Libra energy was Venus ruled and the Taurus energy is Venus ruled, and Venus herself is currently in Virgo energy, looking to fix and heal and repair certain areas of our lives that, of course, are not promoting happiness and joy and safety, security, and stability. We are definitely going to have a logical, practical mindset, perspective, if you will, approach to how it is that we are thinking and feeling, and of course, seeing the small opportunities in the run of our day to make the small adjustments within ourselves, within our physical realm, to kind of let go of the things that we've definitely been realizing we need to let go of, that we have to move away from, that we have to close the door on, in order to actually have a clean slate, a fresh, clean foundation to start building these new elements on. But of course, we're not in control. We don't have a whole lot of actions to be taken at this particular point in view. We really do just have to kind of wade through the emotional water, so to speak, until we're gifted with the green light go ahead to actually take action to make moves. So we're going to continue to feel wackadoodle cray-cray, and that's okay. That is an absolute scrambling of the brain that needs to happen in order for us to be comfortable enough to destroy and deconstruct our old perspectives, our old thoughts, our old beliefs, our old narratives in order to adopt something new. There is no better state of being in I'm going to say an opportunity to rewire the brain than to have utter confusion actually take place within us. So that's what eclipse season is all about. So before we jump into the Ascension symptoms for this week, just a couple of things that I want to touch on. First of all, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being in the chat. I want to thank you for dropping emojis in the chat, in the comments below these videos. That is super, super helping the algorithm. I want to thank you for the love, for the support that you constantly show my way. And I want to thank you for those of you that have jumped over to Patreon. You may notice that you do not have to be a paid subscriber to access some of my content over there. And I continuously see that community building and growing, which I absolutely love. For those of you that are paid subscribers over on Patreon, of course, we had quite a chat with this week's rant. We talked about the Middle East and some of the spiritual connections, if you will, to the timeline deconstruction that were going on, to the chakra points of the earth, to the stargates, to the portals in which these quote unquote wars are trying to both protect, defend, and acquire. So for those of you that were semi-interested on the cryptic type of dive that I did in the Ascension forecast last week, addressing some of those topics and themes, you would probably be super, super interested to do a deep dive in that particular rant. So come over to Patreon and check it out. Of course, we are anticipating diving into Scorpio season just a couple of days away, which means that there is a Scorpio season e-guide for you to download. And of course, you can kind of get all of my VIP content over on Patreon as a subscriber over there, or of course, you will be able to download the Scorpio season e-guide from my website. I want to thank you so much for not only supporting me, but for really investing in yourself. All of those workbooks, all of those, prompts, definitely meant to help assist you on your healing journey by doing the shadow work of the energy of the season in order to understand what it is that's going to be triggered and activated, illuminated into your awareness, so that of course we can flip the script, we can change those vibrations and frequencies to start working for us instead of working against us. So I just wanted to give you a shout out about all of that particular content that is designed to help you, and of course it helps me in the process as well. So thank you super, super much for all of the love, for all of the support. Okay, let's jump into the Ascension symptoms for this week. First of all, I want to talk about the headaches, the moving headaches, the pressure in the head, the pressure in the forehead, the sinus congestion, the crown of your head just being sore, your hair being sore, your ears burning, the ears popping and clicking, the amount of snot and just horrible congestion stuck in the top part of our head. Now, why do I want to talk about this? Well, because we've had a lot of mercurial energy take place. Mercury rules the headspace. And we had a lot going on with Mercury this week, especially Tuesday. We had Mercury and Uranus, the lower level and higher level parts of our intellect, kind of bump off, if you will. And that created a lot of head pressure. It also created confusion. It also created, difficulty when it comes to actually truly expressing ourselves and articulating ourselves correctly. And, we were highly irritable and everybody was rubbing everyone in the wrong way. And, there's a lot of triggers and activations going on here in order to illuminate for us where it is that we are still kind of hooked up, caught up on some heavier vibrations, some heavier emotions and thoughts. And of course, starting Wednesday-ish, we had the sun kind of meet up with the south node, which means that it was also sitting across from the north node. And that south node energy, just a reminder, the south node is in Libran energy, and the south node represents where it is that we're comfortable, where it is that we're coming from, what it is that we're trying to work ourselves away from and actually close the door on. So when we find ourselves in a crazy and chaotic, typically new situation, let's say, the automatic default programming is to rely on what it is that you've been doing, what it is that you know, what is comfortable, what is familiar, what is predictable. But of course, there's no growth, there's no evolution in sticking with the same old, same old. And so many of us definitely feeling the push, the pull, the ebb, the flow. And again, we're in Libra season, so it's constantly trying to get those scales into balance. And with this added pressure of processing going on, and again, there's a certain amount of processing going on that you're never going to be aware of. This is going on in your spiritual body, your etheric body. There's some unconscious programming that is being unraveled without your awareness. And this is when we have aha moments, when we have epiphanies pop into our realization, because we're starting to bring those unconscious, repressed memories, thoughts, ideas to the surface of our awareness. And then suddenly we realize them. We become aware of them. And it's like a puzzle piece gets revealed and we snap it together, and suddenly we see a bigger picture of why certain things had to transpire in the past in the way that they did in order to prepare us for this particular moment. Because let me tell you, we've been training, us spiritual beings, we've been training for these particular moments for eons. Okay. And it's very hard to hold a positive, high vibration and frequency when the collective is going through such a deep, dark purge. Of course, there are many things going on the global stage right now that is just triggering and activating the worst kind of thoughts and feelings within us. And of course, that is what they're designed to do. And it's very hard to override those particular thoughts and emotions when the majority of the collective is still very much sleeping, very much still unconscious. And so those of us that are conscious in the collective, we're kind of bearing the weight for those of humanity that haven't quite gotten to the point of awareness that many of us have. And so, the energy is funky as F out there, and it feels very gross. It feels very dirty. It feels very much like you want to constantly go into the shower and just scrub your skin off, and then to realize that you come out of the shower as clean as you could possibly be, and you still feel like you have this energetic karmic residue just on your skin, just infiltrating every ounce of your being, and it doesn't feel good. We had Mercury follow the same path that the sun had made with that south node activation, and of course the opposition to the north node. The north node is in Aries energy. That's our soul point. That's the path that we got to get on. And over the next year or so of having these eclipse events on this Aries and Libra energy, we will be moving further away from the Libra energy, and we will be moving closer to the Aries energy. And it's going to be quite a process in doing so. but Mercury kind of followed suit. And then Mercury interacted with Neptune, creating a whole lot of confusion out of the little tiny puzzle pieces that just got revealed to us. And then, as I've already kind of previously stated, in the wee hours here Friday morning, we had Mercury and the Sun conjunct. That was their meetup. That's their initiation. That's a brand new cycle opening up for us, and it's taking place at 26 degrees in Libran energy, which is about an ending and a closure of the last, let's call it, year and a half to 2 years of narratives, of information, of details, of focuses. And now we are kind of moving into a new cycle. We're in a time of insight and clarity, although many of us aren't seeing it as of yet. We have so many overlapping cycles of karma taking place right now, initiating something new out of what has already kind of been deconstructed and destroyed, that we are in a time that we are about to be bombarded, if you will, with new insights, with new information, with new realizations within ourselves. And this, again, is contributing to a lot of the head pressure. So the head pressure is, I'm going to say, likely to continue just a bit. But once we kind of enter into that Scorpio energy, we have to understand that a fixed water sign. So to have our mental plane, I mean, we've been in Libran energy. That's an air sign. This is why we're all over the place. This is why it's hard to focus. This is why nothing's really happening. Nothing's really being talked about. Nothing's being really expressed at this time, because the air energy kind of acts like a pinball machine. There are too many active thoughts and ideas and different perspectives that we're still bouncing around within us. And when Mercury enters into that Scorpio energy, things are going to cool down in that mental plane. I don't know about y'all, but my ears are literally red and they're hot and they're burning because of the pressure that's going on in the headspace due to the evolution, the recalibration, the realignment of our crown, of the information that we are connecting with the collective about, and the third eye going through this new revelation, this new realization. And so the Scorpio energy will likely cool it down just a tad, but we move into more, I'm going to say, intuitive waters than intellectual waters. We do have the best of both worlds kind of available to us with Mercury in Scorpio energy, because we get the logic and practicality from the intellectual part of our brain from Mercury, and we get the emotional and intuitive psychological understanding from Scorpio. So we're definitely going to have a change in our headspace, and we're going to be experiencing a lot more intuitive insights. A lot more of our psychic abilities are going to be coming online, especially once we dive into Scorpio season in its entirety. But the congestion, like it feels like maybe you're getting a cold, or it feels like you're about to have an allergy attack. Like where the congestion is coming from is kind of, it's a mystery at this point, but we're having a lot of like post-nasal drip going down in the back of our throats, creating sore throats, creating, the constant clearing of the throats. We're having lots of like random choking sessions, either choking on air or spit or food or whatever the case may be. And a lot of that is energetically linked to the fact that we're in a time where silence is very loud. And I don't know if you know what I mean when I say that, but silence can be sometimes the loudest thing. And I think we're at a very important juncture in this great awakening process where we all have to be standing in our truth. We all have to be talking about the hard things that many people hesitate to talk about. And because we're holding this energy in, there's a lot of inflammation taking place energetically and physically because of that energetic blockage in our throat chakras. Now, headspace, throat chakra, I want to take you right to the shoulders. There's so much pain, so much tension in our neck, sitting on our shoulders. Why? Because we're feeling the weight of the world on our shoulders. The karma that is playing out on the global stage right now is so embedded in the DNA of our lineage that we are uncovering, purging, trying to surrender and release a lot of this trapped energy that is in our bloodlines. Because guess what? This isn't the first time that we're seeing this. Okay, we have experienced the same kind of conflict on the earth plane for the existence of the earth plane. And it's bringing up a lot. And we have evolved from, I'm going to say, our ancestors. Sometimes it wasn't safe for our ancestors to speak out in the way that I'm not even going to say it's safe for us to do now, because it still comes with a lot of danger to do so. But we're at the point in time where our past lives, our ancestors, those that were sworn to silence, let alone scared in their own right to speak on some of these tougher issues, all of that is coming up in the collective. And all of that is getting trapped in our throat chakra, in our head space. We're bearing the weight of that on our shoulders. We're having a hard time, really alleviating a lot of that weight from us at this time. And so it's manifesting in our physical bodies as pain, as discomfort, as, shoulders clicking, can't crack your neck, tension, headaches, congestion, funniness with the voice. You will have just noticed that my voice just crapped out. Now, I do have a history of, issues with my vocal cords, as some of you may know, but this is affecting everyone on the same type of energetic level of needing to get certain information out, certain emotions out, certain thoughts out. And we're choking on it because we don't know how to get it out. We don't know how to speak up. We don't know how to stand in our truth. Many of us very hesitant to do so, and I can totally understand why. But we are moving through this time where we are going to have to start activating these particular chakra points. We are going to have to kind of interrupt the silence, if you will. We are going to have to be speaking a little bit louder for the people in the back, and it is going to have a major effect on the, I'm going to say, discomfort that many of us will be feeling in our throats, in our headspace, in our neck, and in our shoulders. Now, the energy is funky. There's nothing that we can do about that. This is eclipse season. It amazes me that every single eclipse season, people are surprised that life gets very difficult. People are surprised that, old topics and themes, old people from the past, old karmic, I'm going to say, soul contracts that you thought that you were done with, coming up for acknowledgement again. And it's a high potency time where, everybody wants to reach out for guidance and counsel. And I'm super sorry that I'm not available to have those one-on-one sessions with everyone. I'm just one person. I just don't have the energy to do that at this time. But the influx of people needing help, needing guidance, needing assistance, needing clarity through eclipse season, it doesn't surprise me anymore, but it does surprise me that people still aren't aware of what they should be expecting to take place within themselves and within their physical realm in eclipse season. The energy is funky for a reason. We need to be confused. We need to be discombobulated. We have small little, I'm going to say, straws building up to see how much it's going to take before it breaks the camel's back. That's why everybody is highly edgy, highly irritable. You can say what you think is the nicest thing and still offend someone. Everybody is on edge. And this is the type of wackadoodle energy that the collective needs at times, and this is why we have eclipse season twice a year, in order to shake things up, in order to really expose us to a level of exhaustion where we stop being so fixated on trying to keep things the same, and we finally feel that we've been banging our head against a wall for long enough that maybe we should open up to new ways of doing things. Maybe we do need to realize where, we can no longer stay in similar situations or continue to have those same experiences. And a lot of this is happening in relationship dynamics. Again, Libra season. Let's just say that if we had Libra season without the eclipse energy on top of it, we would still be seeing karmic relationships either fall apart or come together. And, the equinox energy initiated that new karmic chapter. Libra season is about the relationships, first that we have with ourselves, secondary that we have with everyone else. And so the fluctuation of the energy dynamics in existing relationships always change in Libra season. The eclipse energy on top of that is just amplifying it, just intensifying it. We're experiencing a lot of things in the past, karmically speaking, and soul contract wise, coming back into our awareness at this particular time because of all the energy and activations with the South Node. And so, not that I want to kind of, go into my own personal stuff here, but like in my family, there's been a ongoing conflict with one particular member of the family, which 2 years ago we thought we were done with. Like the family as a collective kind of, put up boundaries. We're no longer dealing with this one particular individual. And how, I don't know, sometimes when demons can't get at you, they send the devil themselves. But this individual somehow got back into the dramatic family circle here this week. And what I will say to you, I'll give you a little bit of an example. The choice points that we're all being presented with are you going to continue to react in the same way that you have, handle things in the same way that you've handled them in the past? Are you going to revolve and continue doing the same old, or are you going to evolve and choose a different path? So when this particular family drama kind of crept up, I see the different karma playing out. I see the different soul contracts playing out. I understand where everybody's at. But at the same time, the automatic response that the quote unquote family group wanted to go back to this individual as was the same battle, the same way of dealing with it, the same reactory behaviors that we've literally been doing in my particular family unit for as long as I've been alive. So, I kind of stepped in with some of the family members and said, okay, this is how we've done things all along. Where has it gotten us? How can we do things differently? How can we choose a different response? So we collectively sat down and decided to do the complete opposite of what it is that we've always done in our family unit with this particular one individual. And wouldn't you know, a new method actually created a different energy exchange on the other end of the cuckoo person, in which we're trying to keep at great lengths away from us. And it is in the energy of having the observer mentality, the awareness of understanding the patterns of behaviors that we all played into in creating this little drama in the family situation, that illuminated for us where we could try something different, because we've been beating a dead horse. And again, you often hear me say, if you continue to do what it is that you've always done, you're only ever going to get what it is that you've always got. Right? We don't want this anymore. We want something different, which means that we got to grow up, right? We got to grow up. We got to choose differently. We have to act differently. We have to try something new to evolve the situation. And in doing so, we de-escalated a potential shit show that this time, even 5 years ago, would have been so detrimental for our whole family unit. So again, that's just a little bit of a small example, but this is happening to each and every single one of us. There are conflicts coming up out of the woodwork that we thought we were done with. There are relationship dynamics that are pushing us to our breaking point in order for us to try something different. And therefore, the amount of karma, again, because we're in so many different karmic chapters overlaying each other right now, the amount of karma that we are able to actually resolve out of our DNA, our ancestral lineage, is profound at this point. So I really encourage you, if you are facing similar situations, to choose the complete opposite reaction, response, action that you previously did. Let's play upside down world. Let's play opposite day, and let's do the exact opposite from the things that we've already done that got us a result that we no longer desire. It is not a fun time. It is not a fun time to be looking within ourselves. It's not a fun time to be dealing with conflict outside of ourselves. It's not a fun time to be on the precipice of watching the old world die and the new world not even yet get anchored in. This is a very, very awkward period of adjustment that nobody enjoys. Nobody enjoys the first day of school. Nobody enjoys the first day at a new job. It is not favorable to be the newbie, and we are all newbies in this new spiritual battlefield that just got initiated with the equinox energy. So I spoke about psychic abilities coming more online in Scorpio season. And the reason for that is because, of course, Libra season is the doorway between developing the ego self, the identity self that is needed here in this physical realm, and dipping our toe into the spiritual realm of our soul, of the mysteries of life, if you will. When the Scorpio season hits and that energy hits, we all do a deep dive into the deepest, darkest parts of the pool within ourselves. And we are definitely realizing that what we unearth, what we explore, what we discover within ourselves has a major connection to the world in which we're seeing outside of us. And this is why Scorpio energy is shadow work. It is that deep dive in our psyche. It is that deep dive in our soul, in our spirit. And we need to merge the division, the fragments that absolutely have become very, very clear to us over these last couple of months. The Scorpio energy attempts to merge into a new form. When we're talking about form, we're talking about earth energies and all of the, let's say, moon events that we've had thus far in 2023 have been dominant in earth energy. And it's because the changes that need to take place right now are to our physical realm, to our physical environment. And so the more we kind of realize and unpack and discover within ourselves, the more sense our outer realm makes to us, because we see the connection and correlation between our own individual development and the development and evolvement of the collective consciousness. Because again, we're all connected. What goes on within you has a reverberatory effect and impact and influence on the grander collective. And we start piecing those realizations together in Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy is a time where our psychic abilities come online. So we all have different psychic abilities. We all have them, okay? It's just through the conditioning of our upbringing that we lose touch with our power, with our strength, with our abilities. We all have certain gifts. We all have certain abilities, and they get the volume turned all the way up in Scorpio season. Now, again, we're going to be in eclipse energy for, I'm going to say, the first couple of weeks. Technically, the eclipse window doesn't end until the new moon in Scorpio on November 13th. And so we have to understand that there is still going to be this swirling. There is still going to be this intensity, this confusion, if you will. And when we have the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus energy, that is kind of like the climactic point, if you will, of this eclipse energies, and then it starts dissipating. Very much in the same kind of understanding as like the post-retrograde shadow period that planets will go through once they kind of go retrograde or they go direct. Same kind of idea with eclipse season. It takes us right into that new moon in Scorpio because, of course, the new moon is what initiates the brand new energetic cycle that we're going to be working with for the next month. Scorpio energy is going to be majorly transformative, and we are definitely going to see the changes that maybe we've been hesitating to act upon or stalling out, if you will, or resisting in a lot of ways. We're going to see those actually take place. I think it's another helpful insight to have to remind ourselves that when we're in a fixed energy sign, such as Scorpio is, that's the stabilization period. So everything gets out of whack, everything kind of gets tossed up in the air in a cardinal season, such as Libra season, because it's initiating a new chapter, initiating a new cycle. And of course, initiating means that something is ending, something is dying in order for something new to begin. But all that craziness, all that chaos, all that turmoil, it needs to settle down. It needs to find its place. And in a fixed season, that Scorpio season will be, this is where we build a foundation of stability out of the chaos that we're just moving out of. So we are going to feel, I'm going to call them sea legs, but realistically speaking, it just doesn't feel like our legs are strong enough to support us right now. We're having a hard time. You could have manifestation of like lower back pain or hip pain. You could have sciatica. You could have pressure or rigidity or clicking or popping in the lower extremities. All of this is because fear gets stored in the lower extremities. We are about to start taking baby steps moving forward here, and there's a lot of energy built up in that particular area of our body. But we're not feeling safe. We're not feeling secure. We're not feeling stable. We're not sure what direction we're walking. We don't know how many baby steps we're actually able to take. And so there is a lot of, I'm going to say, testing our footing, really, really grounding out in our physical bodies to see where it is that we're swaying, where it is that we're still dizzy, where it is that we're just not trusting our physical bodies to be strong enough to take us on this next adventure. So a lot of those, lower extremity pains can come with a lot of central nervous system activations. And the central nervous system has been popping off as of recently. A lot of that is due to A, the mercurial energy, and B, the Uranian energy, especially the Uranian energy. Uranus, the great awakener, shocks us, right? Sends lightning bolts down to us here in this earth plane, infiltrating our crown, downloading us with aha moments, with epiphanies, disrupting our lives, shaking the world, the foundation in which we set our feet upon in order to realize where it is that major change and transformation not only is taking place, but that 100% needs to take place. It's a shakeup, it's a wake up like no other. So of course, our nervous system is responding to all of this stimulation. We could have tremors, again, with the moving headaches, or just the pure sensation of feeling like you swallowed your cell phone on vibrate and somebody just will not stop calling. You have that, vibration feeling within you. It's something that you can't touch. It's something that you can't calm. It's literally the vibrations just running through you. Again, remember, you are an energy conduit. The energy of Mother Earth, the energy of the cosmos, they're coming through you and exchanging their energy rates through you. And therefore, you're definitely picking up on the subtle, not so subtle really, energies that especially Uranus is having a huge influence and impact on at this particular point in time. This is why we're having a lot of digestive issues, a lot of stomach issues, because the central nervous system, of course, is on fire. It's absorbing new light codes. It's purging old fragments of information in order to have the space to kind of absorb new ones. And the stomach issues, because we have all kinds of nerves in our stomach and in our digestive system is flip-flopping. Now, the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about this elevator feeling, when your stomach drops. But even more than that, we're stomach sick. It's almost like we're seasick. Like we're wondering if we're going to puke. We're wondering whether maybe we should eat something. There is this really weird sensation going on where we have cravings that aren't being kind of curved when we eat the things that we want to eat. Everything is tasting different to us because we are going through a recalibration, a realignment, if you will. Our body systems are elevating to new vibrations and frequencies, which means that the denser form of this materialistic realm that we're in here in this earth plane, it is changing the way that we take in the information, the way that our sensory system kind of, process the information of our external realm. All of that is changing and it feels very disorienting, and it's supposed to. So we have to kind of understand that there is going to be a reverberatory effect through our central nervous system. And I want you to consider all of the nerves and our connective tissue. And so it spans throughout our whole body. And this is why you can have areas that kind of feel like they're buzzing, like they're tremoring, like they're having a little bit of a little bit of a vibratory effect that you can visibly watch. Like I can watch my arm twitch. I can watch my eye twitch. There's nothing I can do about it, but I can still see the manifestation of the energy trying to work through the meridians of my body. And this is why, doing the emotional work is one thing, but engaging your physical body in an exercise, in a practice that alleviates some of these vibrations and frequencies, such as tapping, dancing, yoga, just movement, is helping to release and move around those condensed energy blockages in our physical form. So there's a sensitivity that is taking place in our central nervous system, because we're kind of, turning the volume all the way up on the stimulation out in the world, and how our minds, how our bodies, how our heart space is processing that. And again, in the head space, a lot of processing going on. I want to talk about how our eyes are sensitive, to brightness, to colors. We're going through another upgrade. So the vibrancy of the colors in which we're observing, definitely taking on a different hue, different saturation, different brightness, if you will. Our sniffers, our noses, even though we have all this congestion because the third eye is going through a developmental stage, for some reason we're able to pick up on smells that some of us would prefer not to smell. That's that growth stage of kind of, sensing the old world that is decaying and dying, and the old parts of ourselves that are just moldy and kind of, in its decomposition phase, if you will. Now, that's not to say that all the smells are bad. You can pick up on some beautiful smells, and especially once we dive into Scorpio season, we're able to kind of have a little bit more of an impact on other realms, and let's just say that the other realms have more of an impact on us. So the interdimensional bleed that happens for us to be able to pick up on sights and sounds and smells from other realms of existence is definitely turned up for us. And again, that is just another contributing factor of having our psychic abilities kind of be intensified through Scorpio season as well. We want to realize that this kind of evolution of our spirit, of our soul, of our physical bodies, of our soul contracts, it's all happening in different cycles that are overlapping. And that's why sometimes, some days, there is an alignment of these chapters overlining and things are super intense. And then the next day, it's almost like we're in recovery mode. We need to have a rest day, a time out day, in order to kind of step back from the events that transpired the day before, just to let that kind of percolate and settle into us. And, I'm a true believer that it's not very often that we get two of the same type of energy days back to back. Normally speaking, especially in Libra season, where we're trying to get those scales into balance, we have one day that is on one extreme, the next day on the other extreme, the day following, we try to reach a middle ground, we try to reach a balance point, and then that cycle, that season kind of starts all over again. I know I already talked about the throat chakra, kind of, choking on spit, choking on air, silence being very loud, needing to stand in our truth, needing to be a little bit more vocal. But a lot of this is having a lot of influence and impact on our teeth. There's a lot of pain in our teeth. And, it is never fun to, have discomfort in your mouth, sore gums, little bumps on your tongue, actual tooth pain itself. But we also have to understand that a certain amount of pain is needed in order to bring awareness to where the energy is trapped in our physical body. That's what gives us a roadmap on what needs our time, our energy, our attention the most. And let me just say that any time that we're having a lot of discomfort in our mouths, especially where our teeth are concerned, it's because we're having a hard time chewing our current reality. It's a hard time breaking down what is actually taking place in our lives. And so there is going to be this soreness, this attention, if you will, brought to your teeth. I would highly recommend that you do a deep dive in teeth mapping. Each of our teeth kind of correspond to a different area of the body, a different organ, a different system. And so if you're having one tooth that is like really giving you problems, you should look it up and see what area of the body that's actually connecting to, so that you have a better roadmap on the target energy, that chakra that you need to pour more time and energy into, kind of helping getting into a good flow and healing in order to alleviate that pain, that pressure in your teeth. So guys, I'm just taking a look at all of my notes that I've written down here, and I'm pretty sure that I've checked most of them off. I do want to talk about the fact that our dream state, as we've been talking about, is kind of changing as well. And I suspect that when we dive into Scorpio season, especially with Mercury being in Scorpio energy, that we're going to be retracing a lot of our steps that have taken place in our lives that our subconscious is still having a hard time kind of settling upon. We're going to have a lot of crypticness, a lot of flashbacks, a lot of skewed circumstances really take place in our dream state. We have to understand that Scorpio energy deals with both the mystical part of our memories and the psychological part of our memories as well. And so dreams have been obviously wackadoodle, but they've been very, I'm going to say, confusing in context and environment in their cryptic messages. Things are going to become a lot more clear when we enter into this Scorpio energy, because Scorpio energy realizes that there's hidden layers to the absolute truth. And we're about to start peeling these layers back. And it is going to be a very abrupt shift in the dreamland state. And again, just considering the fact that we are a little bit, I'm going to say, more involved and have a lot more involvement from other realms as we dive into Scorpio season. Again, we're still in eclipse season as well. So there's a lot of overriding potent mystic energies that are taking place in this next chapter that we're moving through. But just realize that we may have to experience a little bit of a situation where night terrors are going to come back. And those night terrors are very disturbing. They are basically an attack on the astral realm, because obviously we're doing a really good job preventing those types of attacks here in our waking life. But it is going to be abrupt, and it's going to be very cryptic, and it's going to be very profound. So I want you to, I know I always say to pay attention to your dreams, but especially as we're transitioning into the Scorpio energy, I want you to pay special attention to what is changing in your dream state. So maybe it's, maybe you're used to dreaming in black and white and suddenly it's color. Or maybe you're used to dreaming about, certain people in your life that suddenly now they're all strangers. Or suddenly, there could be a new topic, a new theme. Maybe it's a continuation of a dream that you had many, many moons ago. Just pay attention to what changes, because that is going to be an area, a topic, a theme that you're going to be doing a deep dive in through Scorpio season to reveal new insights and to reveal new truth. So guys, I think that's all that I have to say for this week. Of course, I thank you so much for showing up, not just for me, but for yourself. I thank you so much for the continued love and support. I want to remind you that you're not alone in this journey, that you're not cray-cray, that we're all in this together, and that it is a very, very potent time of confusion and exhaustion. So if you've checked off exhaustion and confusion, congratulations, you're exactly where it is that you need to be. But I thank you for tuning in, and I'm sending you nothing but love, and I hope you have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.